Hi guys, Janette Barber, Daily Woodie, Central Park, New York City. I love New York so much. I think that's what that 7 p.m. thing, where everybody is going to their windows and banging on pots, and I'm banging on a pot myself now, and yelling and whooping, and it's in honor of the healthcare workers, and it's wonderful, and it's unifying and all of that, but it kind of hits me behind the knees, and because the healthcare workers were heroes 2 weeks ago, and a month ago, and honestly a year ago, but it's happening now because it's so much more dangerous and because so many more people are dying, and that means New Yorkers are dying, and it makes me think about how much I love it here. I wouldn't be any place on earth. I don't care if they start yelling, we're going up and down the streets with carts yelling, "Bring out your dead." I don't care. I want to be here. It's my favorite place on earth, which I know sounds a little weird because I'm constantly traveling and going, find a place to leave. And I do want to go and live in Morocco for months a year. I do want to go to Paris every time I take a deep breath. But that doesn't mean that I want to give up my citizenship and never come back here. Because New York really means something to me. I wanted to be in New York when I was a kid. It was more than a destination. It was a solution. It was an end in itself. And 42 years later, I am excited that I live here. On a daily basis, I am thrilled that I'm here. For decades, I would walk out my building. Excuse me, that's attractive. I always think it's good to have some kind of vocal wind during a Woodie. There. Ooh. I don't know what that was. Probably a cricket. But anyway, I would walk out, go down 3 steps, turn to the left, look up, and see the water towers. And just this, and I'm still like that. I live in New York. Somebody asked me where I live, and I live on the Upper West Side of New York. And I moved here in 1978, and I am still in the same apartment because you don't move in New York. And I got this great apartment. I was living in Philadelphia, and my friend Richard from high school called because a friend of his, Charlene, who wrote romance novels, and she just sold the rights, so she had to go out to LA. So she sublet me this apartment. And my father and my best friend at the time, Joe, who I moved up here with, were packing the stuff in Philadelphia, and Richard called and he said, "You got to be here right away because Charlene's leaving. You got to get the keys." So I run, which was great because I didn't have to do the packing. I was in a 4th floor walk up. It was a great plan. So I run down, get a cab, go to the train, get to New York, and I get the keys to the apartment. Now, even though the apartment was really wonderful, she did have in the ceiling fixture a yellow party light that made it look like someone had committed some sort of urine all over the entire apartment. And I'm going to come right out and say it was a little off-putting that she left a hamper of dirty laundry and an enema bag hanging in the shower. I think it was an enema bag. If it was some kind of a reusable, disgusting bodily orifice bag hanging in the shower. And she had been dating, oh, this was good. She had been dating a Dominican Drug Lord. Swear to God, his name was Enrique. And the only reason Enrique was alive was because he had been visiting the Dominican Republic. Because around 1978, there was a whole lot of machete murders in New York, and it was the Dominican drug gangs machete murdering. They were all Enrique's friends, so they were all dead, and Enrique survived. Enrique did not move to Los Angeles with Charlene, and he kept visiting because he had left in the room that is now my office where I did the Absinthe Live. He left a bird sanctuary. Essentially, it was a giant cage, a cage that was built of lucite. It was so big it wouldn't fit out the door, and there were no birds in it, but there had been birds in it, and he hadn't cleaned it. So there was lots of guano. I think that's just batshit, but it's more fun than bird shit. So guano. He'd left guano and old lettuce and bird seeds, but Enrique told us to leave the bird sanctuary, that he would be back for it. Now, I had the bigger bedroom, and Joe was stuck in there with the filthy bird sanctuary. I am a pig. He is compulsively neat, and he's stuck in there with a crappy bird sanctuary. And time passes, and every once in a while, Enrique would stop by. And then he gave us one time in a baggie this big white block of something. We didn't know what it was. He was a cocaine dealer. We didn't know what it was. We stuck in the cupboard, whatever that was. Soap, possibly something we can scrub out a stamp. We didn't know what it was. And he keeps telling us, so in his head, he's probably paid us. So we have to leave the bird sanctuary. Then we don't hear from Enrique for months and months and months. And Joe is still living with the filthy bird sanctuary. And one day we got ripped. And I took my father's hatchet, which I had because my father was always concerned because I didn't have a fire exit. So he made sure that I had, I say hatchet, and by hatchet I mean axe. And we would have to have drills, fire drills, at my father in my apartment because the fire door was painted shut. So what I am to do, if there's a fire, is hack my way out. And I'm chop right through that door, and I'm supposed to go out and I take that axe with me, just in case I might need it again. If somebody tries to take that axe from me, I am to use that axe, to stop them. So my father was always helpful. So we used my father's axe to chop my way out of the apartment to chop up the bird sanctuary, which is how we got rid of it. And but luckily Enrique never came back, so we can always just assume that it was the vagaries of his line of work that did that. But that's how I started. That was how I started in New York. And when I lived there, when I first moved in, it was a terrible neighborhood. And I one time had a bullet hole from a bedroom window. Oh my God, I thought that was so exciting. I loved that. And we had a motorcycle gang, but they were the sweetest motorcycle gang. They were called the Sandmen, and they only had one bike, and they would take turns driving around the block. So it wasn't that bad of a neighborhood. But I love New York. I love New York. I love everything about New York. I love the subways. People complain about the subways. I think the subways are fantastic. I love everything here, and I think that's why the 7 o'clock thing is getting to me. But it's getting to me in a good way. I don't know. Normally I try to be funny, but I thought you might want to know a little bit how I started in New York. And that apartment, it was so cheap because I moved into it so long ago. It kind of let me do what, like one time when I first started stand-up, I remember a friend asking me, goes, how much money, because you get like cab fare in New York City clubs. And he said to me, how much money do you make doing stand-up? And I said, in all innocence, I said, well, $40 or $50 a week, but then sometimes I have a bad week. But you could actually, it's amazing what you could live on in those days. And I liked spaghetti, which I like now. That's all I'm eating is spaghetti. That's gonna trim me down. But somehow I've decided that if there's COVID, then pasta is not fattening. You know what I mean? So it's not working. It's not working, although I'm not gaining weight. I am staying at the fat peak. And that's the other thing. I gain in this apartment, I gained weight, I lost weight, I gained weight, I lost weight. I lived if I go over just what happened to me in the 42 years in this apartment, I had a house, but then, turns out I, chosen a sociopath and every sociopath is a psychopath. So, that was kind of a mistake. So, he went in the house and the house went. But now I'm back in my apartment and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And I wouldn't want to be any place other than New York City. And I'm really kind of glad that you guys keep coming here with me. Dilly Woodie. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.